They surely will astound you. The amazing things you see. Because they're built to wonder what. How can such things be? A little science, a little magic, a little science, a little...
This is Fontroversy, a show that uncovers the weird and wild stories behind the fonts that just aren't quite our type. I'm Lena Hall, and I'm here with our producer, Sean.
I'm Sean.
You're Sean.
Doot 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 doot. Do 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 do.
Whoa.
Do 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 do.
This is still going.
I'm gonna be honest. I thought you were gonna interrupt me.
I didn't. I just wanted
I
to see how
appreciate the
long you would
generosity of that
go.
bit.
That was wild. We are in the office today.
We are literally in an office today.
We are in an office.
I mean,
it's more of a closet.
It is generous to call it an office, but we are in the office.
We are in the office. If you were a character in the office,
oh no,
who would you be?
Oh no, I'm afraid that I might be Toby, and I don't want that for myself.
I don't think you're Toby.
You don't think I'm Toby?
Toby ends up being a creep.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm Pam.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Except, no,
constantly putting out bowls of treats.
Yeah. She's an artist.
I'm Michael, aren't I?
No.
No?
No.
Thank God. I was worried there for a minute.
If I were anyone, that's like...
Yeah, who?
My God.
You've opened up this gauntlet.
I've opened up this...
It's a terrifying
gauntlet. Am I a
gauntlet.
bit of a Jim? I feel like I'm a little bit of a Jim.
You could be a Jim.
I feel like I'm a little bit
You're constantly
of a Jim.
doing pranks to Dwight. And that is certainly a Jim thing.
Yeah, in real life.
Yeah.
I am
Dwight has complained several times to HR.
I'm best friends with Rainn Wilson. Did you know that Rainn Wilson plays the bassoon?
No, I can't say that I
knew. He has a book.
He has a book about playing the bassoon?
It's called The Bassoon King.
Okay.
You can
Is he a bassoon expert?
He's like a very good bassoon player.
This is okay.
When
does he have time to play the bassoon?
In between filmings of the Meg movies. I don't know. He was in those.
No one was in the Meg movies. No one's ever seen them to confirm that they were actually real.
I might have seen
You've seen all of them.
The second one is about to come out. And I will be seeing it.
What's the new Meg this time?
Meg 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That's problematic.
It's not copyrighted, don't worry. Speaking of copyright.
I
don't know where I was heading with that.
Do you know why I'm thinking of the television show The Office?
Tell me why you're thinking of The Office.
Well, I was thinking of it specifically around a typeface that is just a thorn in my side.
A thorn in your dang side?
Ow, my side. It hurts.
Get that out of there.
Ouch. Well, I'm thinking about that show is, especially the early seasons, are about the modality of working in an office.
Yeah.
It is a drudgery, a very mundane experience. Cubicle living. And the way that they frame it is with, I think, the most ubiquitous typeface of the 1980s, especially, but also the 70s and 90s and into today.
Yes.
Just like a classic rock station. The 80s, 90s, and today. That's an old reference because it's about terrestrial radio and it's about classic rock being today as immediately after the 1990s.
And then they play Imagine Dragons.
Yeah. A weird combo. But they frame it with the opening is a sign that says office in Helvetica. Helvetica is the typeface that is like the most boring, the most mundane, the most...
It's just like when you see certain fonts, you're like, oh, I know that. But when you see Helvetica, you're like, that's sure a word.
This is going to be a real exciting tax form that I'm filling out.
Ipsum Dolores Sidamet. There's a little type joke for all of you type designers out there.
Have you seen, this has been going around this weekend, have you seen the Starbucks packaging where they actually, like, it's one of those weird salads that they make that are just
they left the lorem ipsum on it?
Yeah, it says like lorem ipsum and cheese.
Oh my God, I did see that. Yeah. I thought that was a joke.
No, that one is real. That actually made it out.
That's so good.
Yeah, it truly is spectacular. But I think it also speaks to that Helvetica in a way always feels a little placeholdery. It feels like something...
Yes, it feels like when you turn on like Illustrator.
Yeah.
it's going to be when you just like place down a text box. It's going to be that first one, even though I think it's...
Exactly.
It's not enter. What's the normal one that... I don't remember.
Well, yeah, I think it's like, it probably varies based on system. Like,
yeah.
I think on Mac OS it is Helvetica, but on
Windows
really? It's Arial probably, or
I don't think it is.
Calibri, Kindara, Seago.
It's something, because I'm a Windows user.
You
but
are a Windows
I don't remember
head.
what it is.
Yeah, you're a gamer.
I'm a gamer.
You're a gamer.
Call me a gamer.
That's why you have that Alienware PC with all the ground effects on it.
I don't want to be claimed as an Alienware user.
We've gone too far.
I'm an HP haver.
HP. I mean, even HP feels very, very The Office. It feels like, yeah, if they would have a product placement deal.
They would put all of their packaging in Helvetica.
Yeah.
But like, the weird thing is, we see this font everywhere.
Yeah,
like,
everywhere.
Everybody knows Helvetica, even if you can't identify it.
Yeah.
But like, what is it? Because it's been around forever.
Yeah, if only we had some way of knowing.
If only.
Oh, wait. You know what? I know you hear that buzzer. I'm actually expecting a package.
Sean,
I know this is like super unprofessional.
This is so unprofessional.
Like I had my phone on during a previous recording.
But
I can't miss this package. So I'm gonna just like go and check on the door real quick. And it's Freya. What
Surprise.
are you doing here, Freya? Like you're not delivering my package,
You're not
are
the
you?
mailman.
You
Picture me popping out of a box. That's what I'm doing.
You are the
I just
gift.
popped out of a box,
Wait,
guys.
Freya delivered a package that actually contained Freya in it, and I don't know how.
Freya-ception.
Yeah, it's a Freya-ception.
Well, you know that the podcast Fontroversy is actually sponsored by Inception. It's not.
way.
It's not. I need to stop doing this, but it's going to continue.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry.
Inception, now available on
Fontroversy.com.
Fontroversy.com. Oh no.
No, it's not.
Oh,
It's
no.
not.
We
Don't
don't have the
believe-
budget for this.
I'm a liar. Don't listen to me.
We already had to pay so much money to the Inception folks in that last episode because we used their Inception bong.
sound. Freya,
Hey.
welcome to the closet.
I'm glad we could
Thanks
get you
so
out of that
much.
box and into this slightly larger box.
Thank you. I'm a little bit sore. Box was pretty cramped.
Yeah.
But glad to be out.
It's so weird that you happen to be here at this moment because you, from what I understand, are a expert on Helvetica.
Helvetica expert.
Yeah.
A Helvetica expert, if you will.
I'm totally a Helvetica expert, guys. Thanks.
PhD.
Uh-huh.
I went to this school called PSU, actually.
Oh, yes.
And studied
I've
Helvetica.
never heard of it.
You went to PSU to get your bachelor's, but you got your PhD from the School of Hard Knocks.
Exactly. Yeah. So I heard through the box that you guys maybe have some opinions on Helvetica, and I want to know, like, what do you think your first experience was, like, seeing Helvetica? Where do you think you first saw it?
I actually remember this. Helvetica is probably the first typeface that I was able to identify.
Whoa.
I was an early Mac user for, my age, which I believe we got our Mac in 94, and we had a copy of KidPix.
Oh
and in
my
KidPix,
God.
when you added typefaces, they were listed in these little boxes down at the bottom, and it was always an R. And the R in Helvetica is very distinct. It's it's sort of
It's a little swoopy.
curved and like that little leg on it just kind of kicks out at the very end. And I was fascinated by that leg because it's so weird and it's not like any other typeface really. And being somewhat of an investigatory kid, I went and I figured out what typeface that was. And I still remember like the immediate disappointment of typing that R and it not looking quite as good as the nice crisp R in the little square at the bottom. But that was my introduction in a lot of ways to Helvetica.
Wow.
How old were you again?
94, so I was probably 8.
Wow.
Yeah.
8
7 or 8.
KidPix.
Yeah.
You guys remember that?
No.
I have kind of a similar-ish experience.
Yeah.
So I remember very vividly in the first grade, which I don't even remember what year that was. We were making like introductory slides. We were learning. It was on Microsoft PowerPoint.
Wow.
And we each had to make ourselves, like we were learning to type and everything. So we had to make ourselves a slide. I think it was on like the back to school night for the parents. They could see like what the kids made.
Oh.
And we had to put like our name, our age, a thing we like, and a thing we don't like. And I remember I thought Helvetica was a really funny word, and I couldn't say it, but I was like, that's a funny thing. And I don't remember what I put for my like, but I remember I dislike Jack Johnson. And I don't know why, because I didn't even know who he was.
We must clarify, the boxer or the singer? Okay.
The singer.
You love
and
her.
I like Jack Johnson, so I don't know what my 6-year-old brain was like, I hate Jack Johnson.
Is it maybe that you didn't really have a concept of hate
I think
yet?
I heard his name and was like, I don't like this guy. Which is weird, because I was a big Curious George fan growing up, and he did Upside Down, the Curious George movie.
Oh.
So I objectively was a fan of Jack Johnson.
I think all kids are, because I think all kids like Curious George.
Absolutely.
I like Curious George.
I love Curious George.
Man in a yellow hat. Who doesn't love that?
Man in a yellow hat.
My childhood best friend's dad is in Jack Johnson's band.
What, really?
Yes. Shout out. Hey, Jaden.
That's got to be
listening to this.
That has got to be
Zach.
the chillest job in music, for
Probably.
sure.
What a good vibe.
Yeah.
He just seems like a chill dude.
Yeah.
I was almost
He's
going to
nice.
say Amber is the color of their energy, but that's a different
That
band.
is a different band.
So many
311.
people don't know that song. I reference it a lot, and a lot of people.
Really?
What?
I don't know if maybe.
What is that?
I guess 311 isn't really
311.
doing,
I knew it was
doing
3
business
something.
anymore.
Anyways.
Speaking of Helvetica.
Speaking of 311.
Helvetica, let's make a sharp pivot.
Sharp pivot.
Yes.
U-turn on a one-way street.
You're backing up. You get
Three-point
to the middle
turn.
point and you're like, oh, maybe somebody should get out and like double check whether I'm going to hit both the buildings.
100%.
Yeah.
So true. I think I was thinking long and hard about my own question, and the answer is I don't know. When I first saw Helvetica, but probably in many of the brands that use Helvetica as their logo, that's probably my first experience with it. To name a few: Target, Jeep, The North Face, Off-White, Toyota, Mattel, Staples, Panasonic, BMW, Harley Davidson.
What?
Etc.
I never put this together.
That's so many, and also Harley Davidson.
I know that one surprises me. I think it's been doctored.
That's a weird vibe.
I would not have expected. Like I never put together. These are Target. We see that all the time, and I never connected that was Helvetica.
Yeah.
That says a lot about Helvetica, I think.
Well, now I'm curious. I want to know more.
Yeah, what's the origin of Helvetica? Where does it come from?
Thank you so much for asking, because I actually have a PhD in Helvetica.
As established from the
As
School of Hard Knocks.
From the School of Hard Knocks.
Well, to talk about Helvetica, we're going to have to go back to the 1950s.
Time machine.
Woo, now we're in the 50s. So fun in Switzerland.
Oh.
Because Helvetica is Swiss. Yes.
Love that.
Swiss modernism, Sean,
yes.
is neutral. It's asymmetrical. It's simple. There's not a lot of ornamentation. It's also known for its use of grotesque sans serif typefaces. Helvetica.
Yeah. Is that like rooted in it? I mean, like that aesthetic I think is so ubiquitous even still now, like you were talking about, like the North Face. It presents this very fancy look, and I think that has carried on from the 50s into today. What are the origins of that? Where does that come out of?
So, when Helvetica was created, Switzerland, again, had a reputation for just being very cutting edge. They were killing it in the modern design world.
Yes.
And it was actually created by 2 people, Max and Edward. It was developed by the Haas Type Foundry of Basel, Switzerland. And Hoffman was actually the president of the foundry. And Max Miedinger was a freelance graphic designer. He formerly worked at Haas as a salesman and a designer.
Huh.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting.
So probably he kind of maybe had an ear to the ground about what people were actually looking for in buying type.
Having that outside perspective a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, because at the time, there was a font family called akzidenz-grotesk.
Oh, yeah.
I love accidents.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is like a 19th century kind of grotesque. Like
yes.
These early sans serif typefaces that are I mean, the name grotesque, I know, comes from like when they were first created, it was like this sort of abomination. Like it was meant to increase legibility at small sizes because it lost all the brackety serifs that made typefaces look fancy and nice.
Yeah, so it was really popular, and Swiss foundries, they wanted to capitalize that and make more streamlined versions of that font. So there was 3 modern interpretations that were released in 1957, Neue Grotesk, aka Helvetica, Folio, and Universe. Neue Grotesk was renamed Helvetica in 1960, which there was some controversy because a vocal minority of designers said it was inferior to the original akzidenz-grotesk. They just were like, sorry, this new version, new name, sucks.
Well,
hate it.
It's kind of a thing of like it's lost. Akzidenz has so much character to it.
It does.
It's got some stroke weight variation. It's got some of the more traditional aspects. Like it doesn't have the the weird kicky leg that drew my eye in the early days. It's got a straight leg.
It does.
And I wonder if some of it is like maybe how we think of Arial now, where it's like a little bit of an abomination. It's this weird mechanized thing. All the stroke weights are very even throughout. It's not fun necessarily comparatively.
It just kind of like is.
Yeah.
You know? It just is there.
It's like this testament to industrialization and like corporatization.
Super fun.
It
So
is super
fun.
corporate. It's very, like you said, super consistent. I actually like Helvetica.
I don't dislike Helvetica, but it just like it is a little more straight and narrow.
Yeah.
Totally. It's just super uniform. And I understand people not liking that. Actually, it's funny because Paula Scher said she didn't use it. If you don't know Paula Scher, she's a very famous graphic designer.
Oh, yes.
Look her up. She's cool.
She's very cool.
This is a quote from her. She said, "I was also morally opposed to Helvetica because I viewed the big corporations that were slathered in Helvetica as sponsors of the Vietnam War. So therefore, if you used Helvetica, you were in favor of the Vietnam War. So how could you use it?"
I'm not in favor of the Vietnam War. I think we should leave Vietnam.
We are
probably.
in the Vietnam era right now. We've time traveled again.
Oh no, that's really bad.
Yeah, this is all bad. It's all bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a reason that Helvetica was associated with the Vietnam War?
Yeah.
I guess they just used it in
Like propaganda?
That corporate.
So,
I think at that time, Helvetica was this extremely utilitarian thing, this ubiquitous typeface. Like everything was getting Helveticized.
Yeah. I mean, it is a font that is very easy to read at both large and small scale. So I can understand why that would be like a go-to for like poster making and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
it looks good bold. It looks good
It
in
sure does.
lightweight.
I love bold Helvetica.
Yeah.
Oh, so nice.
It's
I've used that.
I've used that many times.
Also, Helvetica wasn't popular in the States until it was renamed to Helvetica from Neue Grotesk, and the renaming helped to make it more accessible and more popular overseas in the 60s.
Yeah, and if you're wanting to capture like, people who are kind of on the cutting edge and know about kind of Swiss design, Helvetica means like Switzerland.
Does it actually?
Yeah, it does.
The more you know.
Do 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 do. So like, that is going to be like the biggest signifier of all, that like this is the typeface of Swiss design.
Totally. And I wonder if people view it as kind of the sort of like corporate stuffiness.
Yeah.
Like, for example, in the 60s, the type family Universe that Helvetica was like modeled after, Linotype wanted to use it for their machines, but the designer didn't want to modify it at all. He just simply refused to change the characters from a 16-degree angle slant to a 12-degree angle slant. And
what a ask.
The distribution, it lagged behind Helvetica in America. So that's kind of funny. They were so it needed to be exactly as they designed it, and yeah.
I mean, how dare they even question? That is a major
ask. It's perfect as it is.
Perfect as it is. You want me to rotate it? Also,
How
I'm saying
dare.
I'm saying ask with a K. I don't know if that was obvious.
Is it in Helvetica?
It's in Helvetica.
Another question for you guys. Have either of you ever taken the subway?
I have, actually.
In a city called New York.
I've
maybe.
never been to the East Coast.
Oh. You should go.
No, I don't think you have to. I think you're good. Yeah, I've been on the New York City subway. It stinks. It's bad. Sorry,
Did you
New York
notice
listeners. Your subway smells bad.
Anything else maybe about the subway? You know,
A lot of
how
rats.
were the signs really nice and
yeah,
readable?
Actually, it's funny that you bring that up. Yeah, there were a lot of signs that felt very standardized and very of a Helvetica vibe, perhaps.
It's funny you should say that because actually in 1989, the New York Metropolitan Transit Authority replaced all its subway signage with a more consistent and readable version, and they chose Helvetica.
So the original design was not Helvetica.
Correct.
What was it?
It was actually a typeface called Standard.
Oh, interesting.
As standard as you can get.
Yes. So standardizing later on Helvetica probably was a decision not unlike the IKEA decision a couple years ago to switch everything to Verdana because everybody had Verdana installed. Like its ubiquity became like this thing that like made it more possible to use.
I mean, like even I've never been to New York, but I know exactly what you're talking about. It's so well known. Like it's kind of like that universal design knowledge. Like that's just one of the things that you can show somebody and they're like, that's the New York subway.
Yeah.
It's really recognizable. And I think they chose it because Helvetica is really neutral, like I've said. And it's so neutral that like you can't really infer any other meaning from the typeface. So just kind of like you said, it just kind of exists.
Well,
which is nice for something, for the corporate stuff like we've talked about, and also for signage, I think.
I would actually push back on that a little bit.
How so?
I
Please.
don't believe there is such a thing as a neutral typeface. I think like some of that is cultural.
Fontroversy.
I know
here
we're getting some Fontroversy
podcast.
right here on the air. But like ultimately our perception of neutral is a cultural perception.
That is true.
And it is often perceived by, certain things in the moment that we're in. Like I said, I mean, these typefaces started out as grotesques because they were seen as kind of abominations, things for like cheap printed material. But like, this perception of them being neutral, I think is very recent. And I don't necessarily see it being so true because I think a lot of people's perception of Helvetica is corporate.
Yeah.
It's
That's
corporate,
true.
man.
So it
That's
totally
true.
depends on context, because if you're using Helvetica in a much more like, I've definitely used it in some like more fun design and stuff, and it can definitely be read as not neutral at all. It's like kind of bold and playful. So like context is so important there.
Very important.
Yeah, because Helvetica is also used on U.S. tax forms.
Is it actually?
Yes.
Oh God.
It's one of the two
The most joyful
typefaces.
place in the world.
Right, so
Whoa. Wait, what's the other typeface? Do you know?
Is it Franklin?
It's Times New Roman.
Oh no! Wow.
yeah. So that's an interesting.
Truly a banal pair.
So yeah, in that context, Helvetica is not fun because doing
Yeah,
your taxes
you're doing
is
your
not
taxes.
fun
Yeah.
ever. But I mean, I like the subway signage. I think the subway signage is iconic, and people put it on T-shirts.
Yeah.
And like you said, you use it for projects that make it fun.
Mhm.
You can do many different things.
You can.
With Helvetica.
I do want to circle back though to the
Yes.
subway signage. So it didn't start out as Helvetica. It started out as standard.
Correct.
And I think even today we have a lot of things that are Helvetica alikes. I invoked the name Ariel. And if I say it 3 times, it will appear like Bloody Mary. So don't let me say it again. But like, what is it that I guess there's so many weird like ripoffs to coin a phrase like that out there. Like, why are there? And what is their story?
Probably because Helvetica is so successful and popular. So people want to capitalize off that. They want to make money. They want their font to be popular. And if one thing's being successful, then, people think if they copy it, then they're also going to be successful.
Yes. But I'm also curious about like the less cool variants, and specifically Arial. Like, where does Arial come from? How does that fit into this story?
This is an Arial hate podcast.
You know, it's funny because my notes in Google Docs are in Arial.
They are.
Yeah.
If only we could find the person responsible for that. Capture them. Send them to a box in, say, the
viewers,
back of an art building.
For our listeners, it was Sean.
Yeah, I did do that.
Arial is a little bit rounder than Helvetica. Like, if you look at the actual letter forms.
Oh, yeah. It's got some curves where there's not curves in Helvetica.
Open corners. Some people might say that it's less elegant than Helvetica. I don't know if I have an opinion on that personally, but I think when I think of Arial, I think of Google Docs. What I like changing. I think is that when you go into Google Docs, that's what it first
automatically Arial.
Yeah. I think about how every time I've written a paper for school, I have to change it from Arial to Times New Roman, and I used to hate Arial because I hated doing that extra step. It's like, God damn. Again?
I think you can change the default template.
You know,
but that's
high school
so much work.
Yeah. That's so.
How dare you even suggest that?
But I like hating Sean.
You do. I shouldn't.
We love
I
to
shouldn't
hate
try to
here
stop
on,
people.
Here on Fontroversy.
Welcome to the hate train, everyone.
But yeah, it's definitely a little like, I don't know, it feels a little more lifeless.
It does.
Yeah.
Do you think that's because we see it a lot?
It could be, but it also could be like from my personal standpoint, knowing like the usage behind Helvetica, where it comes from. Like there was a lot of purpose when it was made. And Arial feels like it was made just as like a cash grab almost.
It does. Well, and I wonder if it was made maybe even as a not so much cash grab, but literally a anti-cash grab of maybe Microsoft not wanting to pay for
and they don't want to
the
pay
licensing.
for You're so right.
Woo-hoo. So they're just going to make a copy that's...
Yes.
You heard it here first.
Indeed. Yeah. Because like Helvetica has been named one of the most popular fonts in the world.
It's still pretty popular.
It's quite popular.
I think it's still... I would say that is probably true still. But so why wouldn't you, if you're a big corporation, like you said, you don't want to pay, you're just gonna make something that looks exactly like the most popular font in the world because people are gonna use that.
Yeah, if there's anybody that doesn't have money, it's Microsoft.
Yeah,
Microsoft's really hard up.
Oh God.
But it's pretty popular right now.
I think about brands, a lot of high fashion brands have rebranded and changed their logos from like serif typefaces to sans serif.
Yes, like, those geometric sanses that are all
so many
lifeless.
Yeah, they're very like we're minimalist.
Yeah.
Like,
which is weird when like Balenciaga has like a similar logo to Target. Like that just doesn't like make sense to me.
Target like makes sense as Helvetica, but Balenciaga, you're like, I'm expecting that. Not only is it like a fancy brand, but
feet.
It's like it's gotta have some feet.
Yeah.
It's just a little more. It's like it's gotta have some pizzazz.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But they're probably looking at the design world and being like, oh, everyone's using this like sans serif stuff. Like we should do that too because clearly that's what's cool and what people want.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious here on Fontroversy. Let's talk about controversy.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Helvetica is very popular. So through that, I'm imagining there is some commentary around it.
Definitely. I don't know if I've heard any of my like friends who don't do design express strong opinions on Helvetica, but I do know people who do design, like all of us, have very strong opinions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I said, Paula Scher said that stuff about it being big corporations and she doesn't like using it because she associates it with supporting the war. Have some other quotes from some people and they go all over the place. Manuel Krebs said that if you are not a good designer or if you are not a designer at all, just use Helvetica, bold in one size. It looks good.
Huh.
I can't tell if that's like.
I know.
Is that supposed to be like a kind of quip at?
It's very unclear.
Because it starts and you're like, oh, well, thanks.
Yeah.
But then it's like, it looks good.
And it feels like a lot of people, especially in the 70s and 80s, took that maybe too much to heart and did exactly that.
Yeah.
And only that.
Yeah. It does. I think he's kind of saying it's a cop-out. I think a lot of people do think it's a cop-out. Like just, oh, whatever, I'm just going to put it in Helvetica. But it does look good. I mean, things that are popular for a reason.
Very true.
In my opinion.
Like people get mad at like things like design specifically, like trendy design.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's trendy for a reason. Like it's effective.
Yeah.
Right. So why wouldn't you use that? I mean, I don't know. Not everything needs to be like extremely cutting edge, and that's okay.
Yeah. Well, and it's also, I mean, Helvetica goes through periods too, where it's in and out of vogue. Like it was very much out of vogue when I was in school still, because I was coming off the grunge era where, it really did read as extremely corporate and extremely like boring. And I think it's gone through a big revival in the past 20 years.
Isn't there a documentary?
There is, in fact, a wonderful documentary about Helvetica.
Yeah, I believe. I think I had to watch that for a class.
Yes, it is. It is standard
that feels
part
like
of
a page layout homework assignment. I think we had.
But yeah, like it has this ubiquity, and it has had this revival. One thing that really struck me, though, I've been working on a project with some folks. And our client recently, like, it's this layout project. There's a couple different typefaces in it. There's a serif. And then there's, I believe it's actually akzidenz-grotesk, going back to the original version. One of the pieces of feedback we got was that the sans serif, akzidenz-grotesk, the more Helvetica than Helvetica, was childish.
Oh my God, I heard about this.
Yes, which is such an interesting bit of feedback.
I would never associate it with the term childish.
But I think it's also
crazy.
maybe speaks to like it's going now through this period again where it's going to be rejected. But on different grounds, on grounds of it being not corporate, but on grounds of it being too playful.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
See, that is like the trend cycle, right? This happens with people. This happens with clothing items. Happens with obviously apparently fonts too.
Yeah.
It's like something becomes so popular, and once it reaches this certain level of popularity, then people turn on it and decide to hate it and decide it's uncool suddenly. When
I used to be one of those like hipsters that was like, I liked this before it was cool, so now I'm gonna hate it.
Right.
And now I'm like,
we'll do it.
Now I'm like, I just like things because they're good. Let me enjoy a thing. And I enjoy Helvetica.
Thank you. Me too.
You know, and I think even though I started this with some Helvetica hate in
you
my
started
heart,
this
if
with
I'm
a
being
little
honest,
thorn in your side.
I sure did. I think this has yanked that thorn right out. And now I'm looking at it, and actually it was a feather all along.
Oh,
and I'm
my
going to
God.
let it drift into the heavens.
It was about the friends we made along the way.
It was about the friends we made along the way. Hooray!
Thanks, Max. And Edward.
Edward. I was like, who's Max?
Max,
and I forgot.
The creator.
I don't think his name is Edward.
I said Edward. Well, okay.
It's Ed. Yeah, it has a U.
Spelled Eduard. So like Edward.
Oh, Edward.
Yeah.
Like a.
It might be pronounced like Edvard.
I thought you were saying
Edward. Swiss, Sean. No. God.
Like Ed
Wait.
Wood, but one of the O's
Swiss?
is missing.
Swiss isn't a. Is Swiss a language? I think in Switzerland they speak French and German.
Yeah, I believe so
my
too.
God.
So if it is German, it would be Edvard.
Edvard. That makes sense. Well, guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you
Oh
so
my
much. I
gosh.
feel like I've learned
Thank
so much
you.
about Helvetica here.
This is just me. I like Helvetica, so I'm
like casually
biased.
in a box. Oh, hey, Helvetica. Like,
Love her.
Yeah, just it was great that you ended up to be in that box when you came by.
Yeah, it's, do you have to get back in the box now? Like, do I have to take you to the UPS store?
Yeah, unfortunately,
Oh, no.
actually, I'm
At
not at
least
my
it's
final
not-
destination.
It is
No.
not too far away. Luckily,
I wish they hadn't like made this new kind of UPS where there's like just people in between.
right?
I mean, I'm sure
I
it's
hate when
cost
that
saving for them
happens.
because they don't have to have any UPS employees anymore.
It's cheaper than taking a flight.
I guess so.
But it's
Return
a whole
to
lot
sender.
longer.
Yeah.
I gotta go,
I don't
guys.
want,
Who's
I
the
don't
sender?
Want this.
Me.
Oh no.
Yeah, because don't you remember Freya brought the box?
Freya
I was
did
in the
bring the
box.
box.
And they were in the box.
Yeah, it was
Oh
a
my
weird
God.
sort of time-space continuum.
And then we were
flip.
sponsored by Inception. We're not sponsored by Inception.
We're not sponsored by Inception, to be clear.
Wouldn't it be funny?
Although, if friends at Inception, if you want to give me money for this, please.
Remember that movie that was made like a decade ago?
He's
Was it
made
a decade ago?
I feel like
I think so, and I think
I
he's
feel like it was
made
like
2 movies
2012.
since then. The guy, I don't remember.
Who's
maybe.
the guy in it?
I don't remember. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh,
It was.
him.
This is a Leo.
Remember him.
In my head, the Inception title is in Helvetica, but it's not, for
No.
the record. But when I picture
It's
it
like
in my brain right now, that's what I'm
it
seeing.
all comes full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comes full circle.
Our version
Full
of
box.
Inception in our world, in this dream world, it's in Helvetica.
Well, thank you again, Freya. And thanks to all of you for listening. If you'd like, spread the word by visiting Fontroversy.com. You can find our Instagram there with tons of pictures of the work we mentioned here. Our segment producer of this episode was Freya Kargard. Our researcher was Robert Ditty. And our story editor was Izzy Gavaza. The show is designed by us, the students of Portland State University Graphic Design Program, as part of Sean Schumacher's Design 399 Public Design Communication in spring of 2023. To learn more about all this stuff we have at PSUGD, check out psu.gd or at PSUGD on Instagram. That's Fontroversy. I'm Lena Hall.
I'm Sean Schumacher.
And I'm Freya Kargard.
And remember to keep it 30, flirty, and fonting.
I can't believe you went with that one.
It was the best choice.
It was the best choice.
You're welcome.
Amazing.
I'm going to look up how to pronounce it.